Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Freelancer on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries. And in this episode, we have yet more Freeplay to go through, apparently. So, we don't really have all that much to talk about when it comes to the Freeplay systems, because I've already gone over most of them. Because, you know, I talked about how different factions have different weapons and ships that you can attempt to go through. Yeah, as Annotations Grid mentions here, a majority of the Freeplay stuff that we end up doing is grinding to attempt to get enough net worth in order to proceed with the next mission bracket. So that's what we're doing.
So I can't remember which of these two premises is true. If in outer space, because you're in a vacuum and there are no particles, that it's more difficult to send radio signals, or that it's actually easier to send radio signals because there are no objects that are causing friction with radio signals, which is why radio has the physical distance limitations that it does on Earth.
I'm pretty sure it's easier to send radio signals into space, mostly because there's a lot of science fiction that has radio messages being one of the slowest but most reliable methods of communication in interstellar communications.
I mean, you also got to figure that it was freaking, 1969 when the internet was not even a thought of grandchild or descendant of communication systems at the time, which was largely based on telephone and wire. There was definitely chatter going back and forth during that historic flight to the moon. But how did they do it?
I'm gonna use what's left of you to grease my ship.
Hey, that's not very nice. Plus, why does your ship need greased?
Because it's an engine-based vehicle?
I mean, sure, but I'm pretty sure that they're actually referring to their turrets there as opposed to their engines.
Well, I mean, you gotta think that anything, whether it's a rotor or a piston, is going to be sliding against other metal and solid objects, and over time you want to restore the lubrication so that it doesn't cause heat. Heat causes metals to expand or contract. Expansions or contractions can cause metals to break. Breaking metals can cause catastrophic mid-flight failure.
All right, yeah. The thing that we are trying, the weapon that we're actually trying to get from the Xenos is actually either a Scorpion, a Heavy Scorpion, or a Scorpion Mark II. That's why we're focusing on Xeno missions.
I stand alone. Inside, I stand alone.
There are more hostiles at the next waypoint.
And a whoosh. Did we? Yay! We got our Scorpion. Woot! The Scorpion is a slightly higher damage weapon in comparison to the advanced Starbeam, but in exchange, it actually fires slower.
Get over here.
That would almost work in this setting, except we don't have a Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero.
I mean, there definitely are Sub-Zero planets. I'm pretty sure California specifically is actually an ice planet, but
the irony. Like, because California is named after cauliflower. Literally, it's named after the plant, the crop that grows, because the environment and conditions are right. And they decided, no, we're just gonna call it California because it's cool.
Well, California is one of the coolest states in the Union, he said.
Thought you could use some support.
Finally. I mean, half of them are already dead. This is one of the smaller complaints that I actually have when it comes to raiding and intercepting the enemy forces that are free flying around. on occasion you'll actually get a contract wherein you'll actually get support from the people that are paying you. And the problem is that the support ends up showing up so late that it usually doesn't matter that much. Like all the additional fighter is doing right here is distracting one of the fighters from fighting me, so I can attempt and fail to focus it down with my awful dogfighting skills.
You know, I mean, you raise a good point as to like how much is the help actually affecting not only the situation I'm in, but my approach to the situation.
And my approach to
now,
the situation hasn't changed at all.
Right, because for all you know, you're flying by yourself with your ship, with your guns pointed outward, third-person shooter style. You find the enemy targets, you try shooting them. You see friendlies, you hold your fire from them. But, like, they don't do the Star Fox thing where, like, you could see Slippy, Peppy, and Falco's health bars. Where, like, really, like... There's so little information to go on. It feels like there's no information there to begin with.
And we got another countermeasure dropper as well. Bleh. But yeah, the Scorpion particle cannon. It's got a refire rate of 4 instead of the 8 1/3 that our advanced star beams have got. So there is some math involved in figuring out what weapons are actually best.
The Scorpion Mortal Kombat 2 is actually one of the weapons I'm trying to farm up for in the long run.
Yes, unfortunately we didn't manage to get it, but oh well.
Mortal Kombat!
So Mortal Kombat 1 just recently got the Conan the Barbarian and the T-1000 as playable guest characters. Have you seen any of the footage for those?
No, I haven't been following Mortal Kombat, but that sounds amazing.
The T-1000 is supposedly really fun to play with, and to be perfectly honest, from what Max has been telling me, they more or less play like a Killer Instinct character's Tusk and Glacius.
I don't suppose they have like Hans and Franz accents.
I think Conan does, but again, it's the T-1000, not the T-800. So he's from Terminator 2.
Oh, so it's the Robert Patrick.
Yeah, and it
Terminator,
is Robert Patrick voicing him.
Wow, that man is still alive, huh? He's had quite a career.
And booyah! We equipped the Scorpion. Woohoo!
I remember when he was the guy who was hunting down Harrison Ford in Firewall.
I don't think I've ever actually seen Firewall.
You're forgiven for not seeing Firewall. It's a pretty missable movie.
Well, Harrison Ford was in a lot of missable movies in the 90s. We recently watched a Harrison Ford movie on Disney that was all about an Irish organization's attempt to use international terrorism shipping in order to free themselves from British control. No, it wasn't British control. They were fighting an Irish street gang. Yeah, that's what it was.
Ah, yes, those street gangs, their rivalries, their feuds, all the blood they spill.
Anyway, more Freeplay.
Freelancer Alpha 1-1. This is Battleship Rio Grande.
The thing about Firewall that'll put a bad taste in your mouth is that it feels like you're watching like one of those true TV shows, like Impractical Jokers, where like it's just like people doing like not like bad shit, but like they're being rude or they're being impolite. They're doing things they wouldn't otherwise be doing if they didn't have some kind of either an ulterior motive or other motivation, like the threat of being punished. Which is what Harrison Ford was dealing with. His family was kidnapped by hostages, and the kidnappers threatened, if you don't do as we say, we're going to kill him. So that's why Harrison Ford was doing oodles of bad shit during the movie.
That is what a hostage crisis will push people into.
Yeah. It's just, it's it's a trope that I've seen enough. Like, I'm okay. I'm all set with watching stories that are about that.
Doug Baggerly, Mr. Cloud. What kind of ethnicity would you assume someone named Doug Baggerly to have?
That is a good question. I'm sorry. Which part of the Americas are we in? Are we in the West Coast dimension?
No, we are East Coast America specifically.
We're in the East Coast sector. Okay, so Doug Baggerly would probably be of Western European descent, probably a mix of German and Irish. Okay. I could be 155 million% wrong, though.
You're in range of your target.
Kill Doug Baggerly.
So he'll be easy to find.
Well, damn it, Mr. Grant. Well, now you got me emotionally attached to how he is as a person. Now I feel bad about killing him. He was born. He had parents. His parents had genetics. Those genetics came from history, and their ancestors banging over the centuries. But he's a human being.
But you know, he's also more or less just a collection of symbols that we have ascribed meaning towards.
My God, you're absolutely right. This is a video game.
The Rogues faction, to be perfectly honest, is that doesn't actually have any weapons that I'm after, but they were you know, the highest paying job on the job board at the time. So we're trying it. It's a little bit rougher than our previous missions against the Xenos, but only a bit. Mostly because, you know, Bloodhounds are actually heavy combination of both more heavily armored and more heavily armed than most of the Starflyers that we fight up against.
Bloodhound gang, Foxtrot, Uniform, Charlie, Kilo.
Henry, you are almost down.
Cabrera. Now that is a Hispanic last name.
And he didn't drop anything. Dang it.
You know, the weird thing about surnames is, like, how do we know that these characters didn't acquire the name through marriage?
Mostly because that would imply that there are successful relationships in this fictional setting, and like we don't have proof of that. So there.
Relationships. I mean, so far the only sex appeal I've seen is just when we're, you know, out of the ship.
Yes.
I mean, you can't hardly fit two. That's one thing I noticed about these ships is that there are no co-pilots.
Oh yeah,
there are no
we spend a majority of the time in ships small enough to be, you know, what would classically be a one-seater.
Right, where you're driving and you're operating the guns at the same time. Rocker Rabbit Commentaries does not recommend playing spaceflight simulators as a way to train yourself for either NASA or the Air Force.
This is correct, mostly because there's a lot of physical aptitude that you need in order to join either NASA or... Ooh, we got another derail. Yay! Yeah, but nice. There's a lot of physical aptitude that you need in order to actually join either NASA or the Air Force, and, you know, flight simulators usually don't prepare you for that level of commitment.
Time for the centrifuge.
Do you think that exposed to that much G-forces over 60 seconds would cause you to vomit, Mr. Cloud?
Yes. Okay. Because G-forces, when they get extreme enough, or when the change-ups are so severe that I am physically rocking back and forth, yeah, that would cause me to lose my physical equilibrium, which is the foundation of not getting nauseous.
Anyway, in the next episode, we're going to go over to planet Denver. Mostly so that I can say I went to Denver, because, you know, I have a lot of nostalgia with the city of Denver, not necessarily the planet. Be safe, everybody.
The 2015 Denver Broncos.